Hello my friend, I'm Valentin and welcome into today's video. We're going to have a look at Gabri's mega thread on Reddit. For those who don't know Gabri is basically one of the, if not the best player of Dark Souls 3 in the game. He won multiple tournaments. He's just, his game sense is at another level. He can invade, he can duels, he can do everything. And him alongside a lot of high tier PvP player like Jeenine, and mainly Jeenine because that's the main one I follow on Twitch. Jeenine and Amir also, they made a bunch of tests during the Elden Ring network test, and they were able to find a lot of outliers that may make the game a lot worse than the potential it has to be. So I'm not gonna waste too much of your time. We're gonna go over the thread of Gabri. Make sure you follow Gabri on Twitch. I'll link his Twitch in the description below. Elden Ring PvP is not ready for the public, and here is why. Greetings everyone. We have a pretty good idea on what to expect from Elden Ring. The game is shaping up to be the best game of the year 2022 because the PvE is almost perfection and a dream come true. And yeah, PvE is awesome. You have mini boss everywhere. I'm not gonna go over the PvE, but it is really good. In regards to the PvP, however, there is potential for it to be the best PvP of all the Souls game. Only if it fixes a few glaring issues. Otherwise, the PvP at its current state is not ready to be released for the public. Before I start, we need to clear a few things out. The above link is from Soft and Bendime, clearly stating that one of the reasons they are doing the network test is to balance the multiplayer and fix its issues. We want the game to be in its best form when it releases, which is for that reason many people, including me, are taking the limited time we have with the network test to try and find any issues so they can be fixed by the time Elden Ring releases. So we can see already that Gabri, they did sacrifice their time of having fun, of trying different builds and exploring the world and invading and being goofy, to just, test a lot of shit, and I'm sure it was not always fun. Number 1, Backstabs. As you see from the above links, the biggest issue for PvP right now is the backstab. The backstab's purpose was to punish carelessly showing your back in the middle of combat. It added a high amount of depth as players needed to be aware of their backs and they could not swing their attack carelessly. Dark Souls 1 backstab were rightfully nerfed in Dark Souls. Dark Souls 1, if you guys have played Dark Souls 1, even the remaster, it's pretty terrible. I hate Dark Souls 1 PvP because of that, because you cannot do anything because you're gonna get backstabbed. Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 1 backstab were rightfully nerfed in Dark Souls 2, then refined to perfection in Dark Souls 3. Yeah, no one is really complaining about backstab in Dark Souls 3. There are things to complain about Dark Souls 3, like some glitches like bow glitch, Estus cancel, any item consuming cancel, weapon art swap, what else? Parry that can one-shot you. I personally dislike the system of parry and how much you're being punished for it. It makes the game a lot more passive than it needs to be. But backstabs are pretty at the right place. They just need to implement the backstab from Dark Souls 3 into Elden Ring. In Elden Ring, any movement will make you miss the backstab even if the movement is casting a spell while standing still. Even when you don't want to do the backstab, you still get the backstab grab, which leaves you vulnerable to getting stun locked by gankers, another issue we'll mention later. The backstab in Elden Ring is extremely useless and more of a hindrance than a tool at the moment. Removing them entirely is a better option than having them currently, which I hope they don't and instead fix it. Which I hope they don't do and instead they fix it. The best solution is to bring the Dark Souls 3 version, as it worked just fine and has been tried and tested for 5 years straight with overwhelming positive reception. So let's have a look at the clips. So here we have Jeenine going into PvE, and using the tactic of, you know, you go around your enemy, you get to their back and you grab them. Here, he's trying to get a backstab, doesn't work. He's parry spamming, so his opponent is parry spamming and he's gonna try to get a backstab. Nope, doesn't get it. Even if the guy is not moving, we can clearly see the guy is standing in the same position, not moving. Jeenine is going for the backstab and he's not getting it. I think at some point he also gets parry out of trying to backstab someone. So it's just ridiculous at this point. Again, so he's just trying a bunch of times, he never gets any. We can also see this clip right here where someone is casting a long spell and the person is trying to go for the backstab but doesn't even get it. So we can see basically as you cast spell, you're in position of vulnerability. The trade-off here is that you put yourself in a position of vulnerability, but you're able to do damage, right? So you need to time when you're going to cast your long spell. Here, it just makes it so you can just spam spell and never get punished for it. And in my opinion, this is not okay. Like, you should get punished for doing careless plays like this. And we're gonna have a look at another backstab video. So in this one, it's also Jeenine, and I think it's Gabri with him. And he's going for the backstab, but the slightest movement will prevent you from getting the backstab. And why is this not okay? Because then why are backstab in the game, you know? Like, why not, as Gabri said everything, why not just remove them completely as they are right now? They are pretty much useless, you cannot use it for punishing. And also backstab are a great tool in invasion when you're being surrounded by 3 people, 2 people, 1, you're not being surrounded by 1 people, but when you're being surrounded, you go for a backstab. That way you're able to get some iframe, some invincible frame, right? And you can capitalize on their aggressiveness. You know, they are being very aggressive, they're throwing R1s everywhere, and you can punish them for that. But yeah. Next one, glitches. So there are a lot of glitches from Dark Souls 3 that made it back from in Elden Ring. It seems like they are just building on the same engine as Dark Souls 3, so that's why there's a lot of glitches. The following link is a showcase by my good friend Jeenine about most of the glitches seen in the Elden Ring network test. I will still mention the most notable ones here too. Most Dark Souls 1 glitches, including but are not limited to, are back. Infinite stun lock. Yes, this one is awful. This one is awful. So what is infinite stun lock? You seem to be offline. I'm not offline. So this is infinite stun lock. So basically you're against people, and usually in Dark Souls 3 you get 1 or 2 hits and you're able to get out. Here, because they're timing their attack one after the other, Jeenine isn't able to get out of it. So let's show it one more time. So he's going around, he gets hit 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6, 7, 8. He gets hit 8 times and he's mashing circle to try to roll, and he cannot roll out of it. So you're basically rewarding people for brainlessly just spamming R1, right? Let's have another look. I think there's another link to Ouroboros. Same story. My voice is cracking already. So Ouroboros is getting on against this gang. He's trying to fight them. He gets hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times, and he cannot get out of the stun lock. He just cannot get out, and then he gets killed by the Thunderbolt, Ashes of War. And this is a big problem, okay? It's a big problem because you shouldn't, in an environment where we want to outplay each other, where we want the most room for improvement, you cannot reward people for playing like dumb asses and giving no option for the other person to outplay, to counterplay, right, their thing. In Dark Souls 3 there's a hidden counter hit that makes it so I think after like 3 hits you're able to get out of stun lock. 3 or 4 hit, I don't remember. But that's why even when you're getting ganked by many people swinging their sword at you, you're still able to get out. Here, not so much. Here you're just fucked. If you get caught in the blender, you get caught. So we need the we need the hit count that saves you to come back. Let's go back to the thread. So yeah, this is one of the glitches. Another glitch is spells that are casted before getting summoned are invisible to the phantom being summoned. This happened to me against someone, and I don't have the video to cases, but here's the link from Dark Souls 1. So I have no idea what this glitch is. Let's have a look.
Did you know that Pursuers and Holy Crystal Soul Mask are completely invisible to other players? If you cast them,
okay. Oh, okay. So basically, you're summoning people, and oh, okay. I understand. So basically, if you're being summoned in the world before the spell has been cast, you are getting killed, even though, like, if that makes sense. Basically, okay, this guy just summoned because he got summoned after the spell was cast. He cannot see the orbs, and then he gets hit by the orbs because he doesn't even know they're there. Okay, so apparently this is also back in Elden Ring. Most Dark Souls 3 glitches, including but not limited, are back also. Pivot cancel. So this is what we talked about with the Estes glitch cancel. So this is basically what it is. It allows you to bypass the time of how it's called. As you're healing, there's a room for you to be punished, right? The healing time should take a lot longer. You should heal, and then there's a casting animation of the healing, then you put back the flask in your pocket, and then you're able to fight. With this glitch, you're able to bypass completely the animation, and it takes a quarter second to heal, and that makes it so it's a lot harder to punish people, because the thing is that you should be able to capitalize on someone that is weak, but if the person can heal almost instantly, there's no way for you to capitalize, and the only way that you can win against someone that's weak is just waiting for them to use all of their healing items. That's basically it. So yeah, this needs to be fixed. Ring of Favor, infinite stamina glitch, aka Fab glitch, is back. This allows you to have infinite stamina, which includes infinite sprinting in combat and not falling off while on a ladder if attacked. Fab glitch is an example in Elden Ring. So this is a ring that's used in Dark Souls 3 a lot, where if you're running away from gankers, if you're running away also as a host from an invader, you can just infinitely get your stamina back by switching rings. So you basically sprint, you switch rings as he's gonna do it, which is this ring is raising maximum stamina. So by affecting your stamina, it basically resets to 0. To the maximum of stamina, so you can just run again until the end of the world. So this also is a problem, because especially in the open world in Elden Ring, invasion can last a long time, and we need people to be tired at some point, because otherwise it's just going to be a war of attrition of who's gonna get tired of doing the glitch first. Those are some examples of glitches that are back. Number 3, Poise and Hyper Armor. Passive Poise is a great addition, however Hyper Armor is still needed to make slow weapons functional. The following link confirms that Hyper Armor does exist, which is a good thing. The only issue is that many attacks and weapons that should have Hyper Armor do not have it. Me and my friend testing Poise. So in this clip, what we're gonna see is that basically Jeenine is able to hyper armor through R1 straight sword naked with a great lens. So there's hyper armor on the great lens in the rolling R1, but there are no hyper armor on the great sword in any of on any of its attacks. So there's a big problem here, because in terms of weapon balancing, there seems to be a problem here, in my opinion, of course. So this is they say that basically great sword should have some sort of hyper armor, but here Some weapons have upper armor, some don't, but some that should have don't have, so that's a problem. Block counters. This is a great feature if implemented properly for PvE. It's quite useful in PvP. However, it gets easily interrupted by L1 light attack spam, making it useless at fulfilling its intended use, which is being a counter. If it does have hyper armor, it needs to be a frame 1 startup speed armor that is also very strong. If it doesn't have it, add hyper armor and make sure it's strong and fast as mentioned earlier. Otherwise, this feature will be a waste of potential PvP wise. This tech can be debated because we still haven't tried all the weapons, we still haven't tried all the matchups. You know, maybe doing a counter attack with a straight sword against an ultra great sword is a great idea. But yeah, it's for sure, I did try to use it sometimes and you're just getting cancelled out of your animation. Also, we need to see what it looks like with poise, but then most of the best PvP build might be just strength build with high armor and high poise, so that's something to talk about. Great swords, they are as slow as the lance while also lacking the perk thrust damage better range. This can be kind of negated with the Ashes of War. There's Ashes of War that do the thrust damage. There is no reason why it shouldn't have hyper armor on its two-handed form at the very least, while the lance does not most of its attack, including one-handed form. As a rule of thumb, all slow attacks should have hyper armor. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree, that's what we just talked about. Blocking is very strong with very little options to counter it, and this is very true. That leads the game to be very passive and boring. Backstabs were a good counter to shield turtling, but right now they are useless, so that's one option down. Backstabs working would be a great help. Yeah, we need backstab to be just like Dark Souls 3. Just bring Dark Souls 3 backstab, please. Kick is much more effective now, very high stamina damage, but it's still very slow and requires you to be bare hand to use it. Requiring you to be bare hand to use it makes it more useless than older Souls kick that weren't that good themselves to begin with, aside from Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls kicks. Good solutions are the following: increase the speed of the kick to not be easily reaction rollable would be a huge help. Make the kick available on most weapon using the following method: maybe have an Ashes of War option, add a unique button prompt, use them for all weapons so that even special weapon that can't change their Ashes of War can use it too. If forward light attack that the previous Souls game used doesn't cut it, maybe making you click R1 and R1 L1 together or R1 or 2 together. Because basically the way you were doing it before was that tapping forward and R1, but it was a bit sketchy to do. One time out of 2 you were swinging on R1, so yeah, there's need to be a better kick. Weapon art of Ashes of War that are meant to break the guard need to be more effective. So basically what he's talking about here is we're gonna have a look at the video. It's basically that the weapon art from the straight sword is supposed to be a guard break, but as we can see here, it just doesn't guard break shit, even if you repeatedly doing it. One of the options that he did not mention about guard break is jumping attack. Allow running, rolling, and jumping attack to deal significantly more stamina damage. I do believe jumping R2 attack are a great option for doing stamina damage and guard breaking your opponent. However, yeah, I think shields, because if you can shield without being countered by stamina damage, if you can shield without being countered by parries, if you can parry without being punished by backstab, if you can, you know, like, what is there for us to counter turtling? No true combo. There are no true combos anymore, that's true. Like basically before you can have true combos with 2 R1 or in Bloodborne with some combination of R2, R1, etc. Allowing opponent to roll away after getting hit one time, this is not an issue at all. And it could be one of the features that gives character to Elden Ring's PvP. However, it should make pseudo combos strong to make up for it. These are the following additions that could greatly help. Allowing the second R2 or second heavy to flow smoothly after most of attacks, that makes sense. The biggest ones are R1, L1 into R2 should flow into the second R2 instead of the first R2. So what it means here is that there is, like in Elden Ring, there is a there is a different attack animation for every second attack, every even third attack. So if you do one R2 and then another R2, you'll do two different attacks. So what he wants is that if you do one R1, your second attack, if it's an R2, should combo into the second R2 that is in the R2 combo, if that makes sense. It's a bit complicated, but yeah, that'll be great. It is especially disappointing that it's not a feature at the moment, as most attack now flow smoothly between each other except into R2, arguably the most useful one for pseudo combo if implemented. Have more options that let you close the gap from neutral, maybe more Ashes of War that can do that. About the R2 thing, there's one thing I wanted to do. Like it's hard to judge too much right now. We haven't seen all the weapons, but I don't think they're gonna change it. The problem is that this is probably deep into the code of the weapon animation. I'm sure they've done all the weapon animation by now. They're not gonna change it at this point. Maybe it was a bit too complicated because some R1 were not combining really well into the position of the R2, the second R2. So yeah, he made a little edit 2. I noticed a few comments about a few things I said and I would like to answer them in the counters. There's 3 main edits. Let's have a look. Block counters. The argument against what I said about block counters is that they are fine the way they are because they are not parryable. Wow, which is great, I didn't know that. Therefore, a player defending has to make a read to either parry the R1 spam of the attacker after blocking or go for the counter after blocking because the attacker is reluctant to R1 spam, worried that they will get parried. Wait, I need to read that one more time. A player defending has to make a read to either parry the R1 spam of the attacker after blocking or go for the counter after blocking because the attacker is reluctant to R1 spam, worried they will get parried. That's a great insight. However, people are assuming that they will all be using a parry shield when attempting them. The two-handed version of each weapon will not be able to do this strategy. Not only that, if a player is using a shield that doesn't parry and instead has another effect, what will they do then? The attack is meant to be a counter if it is easily interrupted by mindless R1 spam. When you don't have a parry shield, then it isn't a counter, because basically not all shields can parry. Some shield, if you use their Ashes of War, can give you like a serpent out of the shield. You can also create a circle of protection around you with the shield. So not all shields are going to be parryable, able to parry. The attack is meant to be a counter. So that's his main argument, is that the problem is that this needs to be a real way to counter R1 spam. A mere simulating Gar1 counter with poise in Dark Souls 3. This is what we are referring to when we want it to work like that. One of the biggest issues in Dark Souls PvP game is that it was hard to approach a player if they are backpedaling, trying to wait for you to attack first. If you got closer, you will get R1 spam to death. This feature can function to help a player trying to get closer easier. For the attacker's case, this is great because this will encourage people to block more. If they block more, it means you have opportunity to guard break them or backstab them for moving forward, slowly waiting for a block. So basically what he's talking about here is that by giving hyper armor to the block counter, you will make more depth into the reading of the game. You can anticipate different type of attack. You can have more tools as a defender or as an attacker, and that's what we want. We want the game to be rich, to be full of counter to counter to counter to counter. That way there is so many options and so many tools at your disposal that the game becomes much more rich and fulfilling, and that's what we want for Elden Ring. We want it to be the best form of weapon of Dark Souls, of Souls like PvP that has ever been, because this game is going to be still in development. We're probably gonna get some DLC, so the more in-depth the game can be, the more fun it can be. But yeah, we know it's gonna be tough to get there, and at the end of the day, From Software is doing what they want to do. For if you get closer, you'll get where was that? This is assuming when we get backstab fixed and guard breaking is easier by making kicks available to our weapon, not just grab. Not only that, also making kick faster. That coupled with many Ashes of War weapons that are guard breaking. And I think it will create an environment where people have to think twice about blocking. If they block, they are put in a position to retaliate easier as per block counter. So yeah, so basically right now blocking is pretty much brain dead. There is no real counter to it. You can just hide behind your shield, and if you want to be passive, you can hide behind your shield and just, you know, punish the mistakes of your opponent. And rather than being active and both player being active, it's just like a very passive game, which Dark Souls 3 is pretty passive already. But it's weird because they made a lot of improvement in Sekiro combat. Even though Sekiro combat didn't have PvP, Sekiro combat was all about being aggressive. You had to be constantly aggressive against any opponent, any bosses, most bosses, because you need to guard break them, right? You need to guard break them, and as you're attacking, your block was coming really fast. But it's weird because it seems like we've stepped back from that, and now we're in a more passive meta, but we'll see when the full game release, of course. So yeah, the second edit is about backstabs. Many people are making the case that backstabs not being functional is great because you can now use very slow attack and not get punished. The problem with the thinking is that you already get punished by normal attack or heavy attack if it's a very slow attack that backstabs can punish. So it's more that English is not his main language, so the sentences are a bit heavy sometimes. You already get punished by normal attack if it's a very slow attack that backstab can punish. So it's more than those slow attacks are bad in themselves and need buffing, such a better tracking and better recovery, and not that backstab needs a nerf. In Dark Souls 3, most attacks are not easily backstabbed. If you play a tiny bit smart, you can have bait here with Elden Ring backstabs, is that you can even bait backstab with slower attack and punish their backstab attempts. However, the bigger issue here in Elden Ring backstabs is that they are basically a hindrance than a tool. Even when you don't want them, as I said before, they put you in a position of vulnerability. Because yeah, when you do a backstab, you cannot really follow up with any attack. You're poking like a dumbass. Imagine a player using greatsword spamming the running attack. Running attacks lets you close the gap, but one weakness is that the one weakness they have is if you move towards a player spamming the running attack, you end up in a blind side to the greatsword user, since the running attack have forward momentum. You were smart to think that you should go behind them and to be warded for playing smart, right? Nope. You try to attack them as they are showing their backs, but then get stuck in the backstab animation. So yeah, basically people can just spam running plunging attack, running R2, jumping R2, and never get punished for it, because they can all, even myself, I did get some invasion where I was able to just running plunge attack, and never get punished for it. The careless greatsword player then attacked you as you are attempting. The careless. Nope, you tried to. Where was it? The careless greatsword player then attacks you as you're attempting to punish them and gets rewarded for not thinking at all while playing, because they attack you in the middle of your backstab grab animation that locks you in that position. Not only that, even worse, healing attempts can be done right in front of your face and just fully heal them, and and the only thing you can do is attack them once and they roll, but it doesn't matter because they are just fully healed themselves with the healing miracle. At that point, removing them altogether is a better solution so you don't get punished for getting the backstab animation, trying to punish a careless player. Backstabs are a necessity that to give depth into Dark Souls combat. I agree with that. The way they work in Dark Souls 3 is that they made sure player can't mindlessly attack and instead have to think a little but not make backstab the main focus on combat, just like Dark Souls 1 did. I didn't mean to say that Dark Souls 3 combat is perfect. No, it's far from that. I only said that all the backstab mechanic and Souls game, Dark Souls 3 did it the best. And yes, we cannot really disagree with that. If there is one thing it did right, PvP wise, it is the backstab. Basically, Dark Souls 3 PvP did one thing right, and it's the backstab. So if Elden Ring is just taking the best form from all, yeah, that's the idea. It's like, let Elden Ring take all the best from all previous game. Let's have the smoothness combat of Bloodborne. Let's have the aggressiveness and counter option from Sekiro. Let's have the backstab and let's have the backstab from Dark Souls 3. Let's have the build variety that Elden Ring can offer. Let's make this game the best it can be. Other notes I want to add are the following: glitches. Sometimes you don't get the repose damage after successfully parrying someone, or guard broke them. Yes, there's a weird glitch where you can like parry someone, get a repose, but the damage is pretty shit. Weapon art, Ashes of War that needs buff. Stomp. It's a bit too early to ask for buff to Ashes of War because we haven't seen all of them. So we first need to have a full look at all the Ashes of War. But I'll still read it. Stomp. Not the new Mind Stomp, the old Greatsword and Ultra Greatsword Stomp of Dark Souls 3. This weapon art is very underwhelming despite costing plenty of FP. Some ideas to make it good is to allow it to cancel all normal attack into much faster. How about letting it be able to make normal attack bounce off? It's so difficult to read. Stomp. This weapon art is very underwhelming despite costing plenty of AP. Some ideas to make it good is to allow it to cancel all normal attack into it much faster. How about letting it able to make normal attack bounce off it, but instead of just one-handed normal attack of fast weapon, it would be all normal attack. Other way it just allows it. Other ways is to allow the follow-up cancel the stomp if if the stomp itself much faster. So I'm not sure what he means here, but that's pretty much it. I mean, he said everything. There. There's also a couple of outliers. I'm thinking about the blood ring, the blood finger that allows you to teleport instantly as an invader is a bit too. The animation is a bit too quick at the moment. But there will be a lot of stuff to talk about. But basically, they are pointing. I mean, Gabri is pointing the main issue here, and I hope From Software sees this post. There's like 6.5 thousand upvotes, so I'm sure it will be read by some developers somewhere. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe and comment. Don't forget to follow Gabri and Jeenine and Amir to their following social media. I'll link them in the description below, and I see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.